DIR Floortime is a framework founded by Dr. Stanley Greenspan. It is a multidisciplinary approach used by parents, teachers, occupational therapists, speech therapists, and other mental health professionals. DIR Floortime helps build healthy foundations for social, emotional, and intellectual capacities. DIR. Developmental. This describes the foundation of the model, helping children develop strategies to regulate emotions, engage in shared social problem solving, and think and play creatively. I. Individual differences. This describes the unique way that each child processes information. Everyone processes the world around us in a different way. Some children, for example, are over-responsive to touch or sound, while others may be under-responsive. R. Relationship-based. This describes the relationships that help facilitate growth. Using this approach, therapists, caregivers, and others tailor their affect to match a child's individual differences to promote developmental growth.
So Dr. Stanley Greenspan discussed how in order to connect to a child, you had to kind of get down on their level. And if you see pictures of Dr. Greenspan, he was a very tall man, so I think for him especially, getting down low with the child was probably pretty important, because when you are standing above a child, you are acting as an instructor, as a corrector. You're giving them commands and you're telling them what's right and wrong. And floor time isn't about what's right and wrong, it's about the human connection. So when you get down on the floor and you get to their level, you're able to really work on that relationship. I think a lot of the kids we work with are very used to being told what is right and what to do, and to actually have their ideas validated is really important. A lot of other approaches for working with children will look at, are they writing properly? Are they speaking in full sentences? Are they responding to prompts? Those are all outcomes. Floor time wants to look at what is affecting a child's capacity to do those things. What is preventing a child from connecting and engaging? What are the factors? Are there sensory needs? Is it the environment? Is it the person they're working with? Do they need particular supports? So these are the roots, this is the foundation of the house of development. And without these skills, a child can't flourish. A child I used to work with who was diagnosed with autism. This child, when I started working with him, only wanted to play with toys, especially things like trains, and he would line them up, maybe blocks, line them all up. All this child wanted to do was line things up all day, and it was very difficult to connect, very difficult to engage. Something you see somewhat frequently with children diagnosed with autism. And where we started off, it didn't seem like there was much connection or engagement, but slowly but surely we started to put in place a sensory diet, started to work on ways to connect and engage. Little by little, this child started to maybe accept an adult or a therapist, maybe touching one of his toys or playing alongside with one of his toys. He started to smile, we started to see gestures, and with time we really started to play in a sensory gym together, and he would get onto a swing with me, he might sit next to me or in front of me, and one day he kind of allowed me to playfully take one of his toys from him. I kind of built up some anticipation, went and grabbed the toy, and I saw that gleam in his eye. He smiled, and that's the beautiful thing, because if you don't see that gleam in the eye, you're especially if you're taking something away from a child, you are not doing anything constructive, you're just frustrating them. But he had that beautiful look, he smiled at me, he had that playful look that he wanted to see something more. And the next thing I know, he was chasing me around the room, we were singing songs, he was trying to find ways to get the toy back. And suddenly, our relationship was not about the toy at all. It was about the play back and forth between us. The toy was just a medium. So the entire relationship had turned on its head. And that's when floor time is beautiful. When we start with a child who is closed off from the world, and we look at them as an individual, and we build a relationship with them. And suddenly, play is the medium, and not the objects that our children tend to perseverate on.